So if you came to me and asked, how can I change the way I cook, for the better, of course, and if you wanted to focus on one region of the world or one country, I'd say China has a huge culinary history, obviously very different styles of cooking as well in all its different regions. So today on Mill Street, we're going to go to China to pick up 3 recipes. The first is a Sichuan chili chicken. It's also a dish made here in restaurants. Secondly, we're going to do a chicken salad based on a very famous recipe, Bang Bang chicken, where the chicken's actually pounded, and that way it absorbs more of the dressing. And finally, we're going to take a clue from wok cooking on how to cook fish. They steam a whole fish in a wok. We're going to adapt that to a Dutch oven here in the States to make a very simple method for steaming fish with a great sauce with lots of flavor. So please stay tuned for Mill Street as we explore the cuisines of China.
Funding for this series was provided by the following.
Ferguson's proud to support Milk Street and culinary crusaders everywhere. For more information on our extensive collection of kitchen products, we're on the web at fergusonshowrooms.com.
For 25 years, Consumer Cellular's goal has been to provide wireless service that helps people communicate and connect. We offer a variety of no-contract plans, and our U.S.-based customer service team can help find one that fits you. To learn more, visit consumercellular.tv.
Cooking happens in the kitchen, but life happens around the kitchen table. The 1919 collection, celebrating yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Visit us at www.1919cookware.com.
I grew up on fried chicken, as probably almost everyone did, but it was very different than what you might find in other parts of the world. And if you go to China, to Chengdu, for example, it's a city of about 12 million people, they have a Sichuan chili chicken dish, which uses lots of whole chilies. And if you get it at a restaurant in this country, you might wonder about all those chilies, but you're not supposed to eat the chilies. They're just there to flavor it. So why don't we take the concept of fried chicken, adapt it to a Sichuan point of view, and make something that's got a lot more flavor to it, actually is a little bit easier to cook too.
I can't agree with you more. This is a transformative dish to me because it is easier, it's got a lot more flavor, and you get a lot more texture because we're gonna work with smaller pieces of chicken. But as you said, this comes from the Sichuan region of China, which is really characterized by this combination of Sichuan peppercorns and chili heat. And that balance is called ma la, and it's about sort of the numbing capacity of those peppercorns. So begins with these Sichuan peppercorns. We're gonna start with 3 tablespoons that we've toasted. You wanna toast them in a medium to low pan, and then we're gonna grind them. So we're gonna use a little spice grinder here. Do not use your coffee milk, Chris. You do not want a mouth-numbing cup of coffee.
You might invent something.
So let's grind those. And then we're gonna strain it. Sometimes you can get bits of twig or something that might be a little hard. You can just sift it. To those ground peppercorns, we're gonna add 2 teaspoons sugar and 1 teaspoon kosher salt. So we have our seasoning mix. Let's put that aside for now, and let's transfer to our chicken. So we're gonna start with 1/3 cup of soy, then 3 tablespoons of unseasoned rice vinegar, 2 tablespoons of sugar, and 2 egg whites. It helps the batter stick to the chicken. Pour it over top. And this is 2 pounds of chicken thighs cut into about 1-inch pieces. So we're gonna let this sit out at room temperature for about 20 to 30 minutes. And while that rests, we can make our chili oil. It's gonna start with 1 ounce or about 1 cup of whole Sichuan chilies. If you can't find the Sichuan chilies, arbol chilies work really well. They're from the same family of peppers that have a similar heat level. We're gonna add 3 tablespoons of Sichuan chili flakes, which bring up the heat. And we're gonna add a tablespoon of whole Sichuan peppercorns to reinforce that flavor. Finally, a cup of oil. We're gonna heat this over medium-low heat.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You're going to make a flavored chili oil.
Yes.
You're going to use just some of that oil in this recipe, or are you going to use the whole cup?
How would you like it?
Okay, so the answer is some of it. Okay,
Yes.
I'm just checking.
We're going to heat this over medium-low to 275 degrees. You don't want to boil it or cook it too much, or you're going to get sort of a bitter, charred flavor. It's going to take about 3 to 5 minutes. Once it comes up to temp, we're going to let it cool to room temperature, then we're going to strain it. And this is what we're going to use to flavor the chicken afterwards. We're going to toss it with the cooked chicken for some heat, but not too much heat. So it's been 30 minutes. The chicken's marinated at room temperature, and now we've drained it because you want to get off as much moisture as possible. And now we're going to make our dredge. We're going to start off with 2 cups of cornstarch. We're going to add 1/4 cup of ground Szechuan peppercorns, 2 tablespoons of sugar, and 2 teaspoons of kosher salt. We're going to mix that up.
Now, if I may ask, most fried chicken recipes, of course, use flour. So this just gives you a thinner, crispier crust. Is that right?
It does. It's just very light, very delicate. You don't get any of that chewiness you sometimes get. So let's transfer the chicken to our dredge. This cornstarch is very light, can get really fluffy, so it can get messy. And we do want to make sure the coating is really fine and light, and we don't have extra cornstarch in there. I'm going to go ahead and put that chicken in a strainer and give it a shake to remove excess. Then I'll put it on a wire strainer. Okay, Chris, we're fully dredged at this point, and we're ready to fry. So we want to make sure that oil is 350 degrees. Do you want to? Oh,
No, I'm just your assistant.
perfect. So let's get that chicken in. We can fry about half the chicken in one batch. It should take about 5 minutes to get crispy and cooked through.
So what kind of oil and how much?
You can use any neutral, high smoke point oil for frying like this. I really like peanut oil, very clean flavor, crisp texture. And we're going to use 8 cups, 2 quarts.
Now I'm going to ask the most annoying question ever asked about recipes, which is how do you know when it's done?
You're looking for crispness and color. These are really small pieces of chicken, so they cook through really quickly. The cornstarch doesn't brown as deeply as regular flour, but you do want sort of golden highlights on this chicken. So Chris, it's been about 5 minutes, and this first batch looks just about done. You can see those good golden highlights, and we'll transfer it to a wire rack. So now we want to make sure the oil's back up to 350 before adding the second batch. We fried all our chicken, now it's time to dress it. I'm gonna throw it all in a bowl here.
I don't know if they can hear it at home, but it's really crispy when you're picking it up with the tongs. I mean, you can hear it, right?
We're gonna add 8 chopped scallions. We're gonna add a tablespoon of that seasoning salt we made at the start. Then we're gonna add 6 tablespoons of the oil we made. Now I brought it back up to heat in the microwave. If you add it cold, it's gonna affect the crust.
Matt, do you want to rethink this step here? I mean, 6 tablespoons? Okay, I guess not.
You'll survive.
No, I like heat. I'm just asking a question. That's all.
And then we're gonna finish with a cup of cilantro leaves. I like that sort of burst of freshness a whole leaf provides. Let's go ahead and plate that. Would you like some extra oil for yours?
No, I tell you what I'm going to do. We're going to rearrange the eating area. We're going to put this over here for
Oh,
you
excellent.
because you're probably the person who's going to use it. Go ahead, dig in.
Yeah, excellent.
Oh. You know, I am going to put some oil on it. This really isn't that hot. I mean, there's a little bit of heat there, but
It's got this really warm roasted flavor. You get that tingliness. It's really a complete package.
this is really good.
There's so much more surface area too, so you get more texture from the crust. It absorbs the oil, the spice rub.
So I have a suggestion. Next time you want to do fried chicken, I love fried chicken. I love Southern fried chicken. But now I also like Sichuan fried chicken. Nice thin coating with a cornstarch. It has this great spice seasoning, a infused Sichuan peppercorn and Sichuan pepper oil. It cooks up just in 5 minutes and really has a complex flavor, and it's not too hot.
Nope.
Matt, thank you. Sichuan fried chicken is going to be on my repertoire back at home.
You're welcome.
You know, on Tuesday night, we want something quick, but also full of flavor. And Sichuan chicken salad, I think, meets both of those. Sometimes it's referred to as bang bang chicken salad, which I guess means you're banging the chicken so that it absorbs more of the dressing. In Mandarin, that means stick, which also might refer to the stick you use to bang the chicken. So, with that in mind, we're now going to make a Sichuan chicken salad.
Yeah. So with our Szechuan chicken salad, we really loved how simple it was to put together. But what's great is it's very different from the American mayo-driven chicken salad where all the flavors are added right at the end. Here in this chicken salad, we're starting with layers of flavor built from the ground up. We'll be cooking this chicken on the stovetop, skin side down, bone in, and skin on. Now these chicken breasts are about 10 to 12 ounces each. And to that we will add our scallions, about 6 scallion whites roughly chopped. We also have an inch-long piece of ginger that has been peeled and cut into coins and then smashed. To that we'll add 2 garlic cloves that are also peeled and smashed. And finally, 1.5 teaspoons of kosher salt. We have to poach this gently. So we're starting from a cold pan along with 4 cups of cold water. And you want to fully submerge the chicken breast to ensure that it all cooks evenly. And to amp up the flavor, we'll add in a 1/4 cup of dry sherry. Would you mind bringing this burner up to medium-high?
Okay, there we are.
Once it hits a boil, we want to turn it down to low and keep it at a very bare simmer. We don't want to boil the chicken for too long or else it gets tough and dries out. And simmer that for about 20 to 25 minutes. And afterwards, we could go ahead and let it cook in the residual heat for about 15 minutes.
Okay.
Now, while this chicken cooks, we could turn our attention to making a very vibrant dressing. And the way this dressing comes together is with 2 tablespoons of chili oil, 2 tablespoons of rice wine vinegar, unseasoned rice wine vinegar.
You know, that chili oil will definitely liven it up.
Oh, most certainly, most certainly. Not only in color, but just a little heat, right? Just enough. To this, we'll also add 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, 1.5 tablespoons of toasted sesame oil, 2 tablespoons of tahini. Now, tahini is our favorite sesame paste that really enriches this dish. And we'll also add 1.5 tablespoons of white sugar, anywhere between 1/8 of a teaspoon and 1/4 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper.
You probably have a full teaspoon here for me, right?
Yeah, no, that's basically what's happening right now.
So how much is that? So that's a half teaspoon?
No, that is actually a quarter of a
quarter,
teaspoon.
okay.
So we're not going too crazy. Now, the fun ingredient in this recipe is Szechuan peppercorns, which is a misnomer. They're neither peppercorns nor are they chili peppers. They're actually the husk of the Chinese prickly ash tree. The flavor of this is somewhere between lemon meets pine. It's very floral and very bright, but it's not so much known for its flavor than it is for its sensation. These peppercorns are packed with hydroalpha sanchols, as they're called. Now, these sanchols offer a very strong, tingly sensation. And you often see this in a lot of East Asian cuisine, added with a number of other chilies. And that numbing sensation allows your palate to take on more capsaicin. So we added in about a teaspoon of that Szechuan peppercorn right into this dressing, and after that, we give it a whisk. And you'll see that the tahini in this dressing really makes this super creamy. So once that dressing is all set, we simply have to wait until the chicken is ready, so that way we could bring them both together. So the chicken has been simmering for about 20 to 25 minutes. After that, I removed it from the heat and let it chill out for about 15 minutes in its stock and allow that residual heat to really permeate that entire chicken breast with flavor.
And add more flavor, yeah.
Exactly. So now that it's cooled, I've taken out the bones and removed the skin and discarded them both and transferred all of the meat into this metal bowl. And to this, I will add about 2 tablespoons of the dressing that we prepared earlier. I know what you're thinking. This doesn't seem like enough dressing. We're gonna go ahead and remedy that with a little bit of percussive maintenance, as I call it. We're going to use a wooden spatula to really press all of that dressing in between the chicken muscle fibers.
So this is why they call it bang bang chicken.
This is the bang bang part of it all, yeah. We do want to make sure that the dressing has really well coated most of the fibers. We'll go ahead and add 1 large cucumber sliced on the bias and de-seeded. And here I have a 1/3 cup of dry roasted peanuts. I'll save a little bit for garnish, but the rest we'll add directly to the salad. To this, we'll add 3/4 of the reserved scallion greens from earlier. So now that we've added all of the produce to our salad, we could drench the whole thing.
Oh, good, I feel better now. Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and add that all in and toss it all together. There we go. And you'll notice that the texture of this salad is not as drenched as American chicken salad could be. We'll go ahead and top this off with the remaining chopped peanuts, as well as the remaining scallion. And from there, Chris, we're all set to eat.
It looks great.
Can't wait to hear what you think of the flavor, because the flavor is out of this world. Well,
You know what really makes this, oddly enough, is the tahini, because it smooths it out and gives it a nice base, but it's got a little bit of heat to it.
you kind of met with the coolness of the cucumber. And do you get that tingle?
Well, yeah, there, I just got it. So the next time you want a quick Tuesday night supper, you might want to try Sichuan chicken salad. It's quick and easy, but also has lots of layers of flavor and textures. It's got the peanuts, it's got the cucumber, it's got a little bit of spice, and it's got creaminess in the tahini. Excellent, and you can do this in under an hour. You know, I've cooked fish many ways. I've grilled it, I've sauteed it, I've roasted it, I've baked it, I've braised it. And many of those techniques are okay, but actually the best way to cook fish is the way the Chinese do, which is to steam it, because it takes about 10 minutes to steam. It's perfectly moist, it doesn't stick to the pan, and you can also flavor the fish during the steaming process. So simple, big flavor, what's not to like?
That's right, Chris. We did have to make a few tweaks to the recipe to kind of adapt it to an American kitchen.
And we're going to use chicken.
We're going to use
Let's use
cod
fish.
fillets.
Okay.
So cod is a really nice white fish, has a really clean flavor, mild. It lends itself to kind of whatever flavor you're putting on it. So we're going to start with 3 tablespoons of chopped cilantro. And this is going to be like a seasoning paste. It's not a marinade. It's actually going to stay on the fish through the whole cooking time and even when it comes to your plate. So this is 3 minced scallions, 2 tablespoons of grated fresh ginger, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, and 1 tablespoon of grapeseed oil. I'm just going to mix this together, and you can see it's not really liquidy, so it's not a marinade, more like a paste. So we have 4 6-ounce fillets of cod, and I always tell people when you're shopping for fish, be kind of bossy at the fish counter.
Do you?
Ask for what you want. Ask for each fillet to specifically be 6 ounces. You want to make sure they're the same thickness, otherwise they won't cook at the same rate. So we're going to let this sit on the fish for about 10 minutes. It's pretty easy to penetrate into fish. I'm sure you have some great sciencey reason why that is, but it goes really quickly. I'm just going to wash my hands and then we'll come back and we'll finish this up.
Okay.
So the fish has been sitting for about 10 minutes, and I mentioned that we were going to tweak this from the Chinese version of the recipe to an American version. Most Americans don't have woks. So instead, we're going to use a Dutch oven with just a regular metal folding steamer basket. But we're going to do something special to the steamer basket. So when you cook a whole fish, you've got the flesh kind of protected by the skin. So we're trying to find a way to do that here. So we're going to take the leaves off of this head of cabbage, and we're going to line the basket with the leaves, and then cover the fish with a couple more leaves, and that's really going to kind of insulate the fish, keep it really nice and moist. So I'm going to take off 6 of these leaves. When you buy this, it's really good to get one that has some really loose leaves that you can take off pretty easily, because once you get down a little bit further,
They're
become
harder to separate.
a little bit harder. I'm actually going to trim a little bit of this core off and then very gently work them down. So we've got our leaves set aside, but now we're going to actually use some of this cabbage to make just a really quick and simple cabbage salad. So the first thing you want to do is put it down on the core so it's stable and cut through. We need about 1/4 of this. And you want to end up with 2 cups of sliced cabbage. I'm going to cut the core out. And then when I cut cabbage, I like to kind of pull out as much of this kind of tight part as I can and chop it sort of separately. It allows
So
me
you
to
take
kind
about
of,
half the cabbage out
No,
before
I'm
you...
going to chop it. I'm
Oh,
just
you
going
are.
to,
Okay.
it just makes this a little bit flatter, a little
That's
more
a good
stable.
idea, actually. Okay.
And then we're just going to slice it thin. So now we're going to make our little fish cocoon. So I'm going to line the basket with the leaves, and then I'm going to put the fish on top. And then we're going to put these last 2 leaves kind of on top here. We have our nice little fish cocoon. So Chris, I had some water heating here. It's about at a simmer. Then we're actually going to shut the water off when we put our basket in. so that we don't put our hand into
Because the first time you did it, you forgot to turn it off.
boiling hot water coming right up. And we'll recover that and set it over medium. Once it comes to a simmer, it should take about 8 to 12 minutes to cook. What you don't want to do is keep peeking in there because the steam is what's cooking it. So once you let that out, there's nothing in there to cook it. So while that fish cooks, we're going to make a really quick and flavorful dressing for our cabbage salad, and it's going to be the sauce for our fish. We're going to start with 4 tablespoons or a quarter cup of soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of unseasoned rice vinegar, 2 teaspoons of sugar, and a teaspoon of ground white pepper. Now, white pepper is one of those ingredients that I've always been super skeptical of, but it's actually a really common ingredient in Chinese cooking, and it definitely has a different flavor than black pepper. It's almost mustier. So I'm just gonna take 3 tablespoons of this and add it to the cabbage, and the rest we'll keep aside for when we eat the fish. And just quickly toss this. If you wouldn't mind passing me that beautiful platter.
So you're preparing a bed for the fish.
That's right. So we'll let the fish finish cooking, and we'll come back and we'll see how tender and moist our fish is inside our little cabbage cocoon.
Perfectly cooked.
That's right.
That's what you're hoping for.
I promise
Okay.
you. So it's been about 10 minutes. I checked the fish. It flakes really nicely with a fork, so it is ready to go. Look at that. Doesn't look the same as when it went in, does it?
No, it's changed.
Move it a little closer to this plate, and I'm gonna actually take the whole basket out. It's gonna make it a little bit easier to get these really flaky fish fillets out of these cabbage leaves. So I'm gonna take off the top 2, ready for the big reveal. Put it on our bed of cabbage.
So it's clearly flaky.
It's
Yes.
very flaky. Cod is a really flaky fish. If it's cooked really nice and tender, it's gonna fall apart a little. It's not something to stress about.
Okay.
So we're not done here. We're gonna do one more thing to the fish. This is 2 tablespoons of grapeseed oil. And while that's heating, I'm gonna add some aromatics to the top of the fish. So this is 3 sliced scallions, and then 1 serrano pepper that's sliced thin, and those seeds and ribs are still in here. If you don't want that spice, you can certainly take them out. And a common Cantonese technique is to use hot oil and pour it over those aromatics. It really just releases their fragrance. It doesn't really fully cook them. They're just kind of slightly cooked. And you'll hear this when I pour this over, the sizzle. So you can hear it sizzle. It's just,
The old Cantonese sizzling oil trick.
you can see them almost kind of cooking a little bit. We've got a little bit of sesame oil here. It's 1 tablespoon of sesame oil just
So this
to
is
finish
toasted
this.
sesame oil.
Toasted sesame oil, yep. And then a quarter cup of cilantro leaves. Nice herbal garnish. And we are ready to eat this
Very
fish.
pretty.
So we've got the rest of that sauce that I made earlier that we used to dress the cabbage with. We're gonna use that on the side. So I'm gonna serve us some of this really nice fish. Flaky cod, Chris. I love this sauce. It's so much better than just soy sauce.
Okay, the moment we've been waiting for. It is perfectly cooked. It's delicate. Didn't stick to the pan.
No.
That doesn't smell like fried fish, you know?
Absolutely. It's probably the easiest way to cook fish with the best results.
So the next time you take a piece of, well, fairly bland fish, cod is sort of bland, and you want 2 things. You want a foolproof recipe, a delicate foolproof recipe, and also lots of flavor. The ginger scallion steamed cod is the ticket for you. We actually steam it in cabbage leaves, and we have a marinade on it, which has a little bit of paste and ginger on it, for about 10 minutes to add flavor. And then we finish it off with a very nice sauce. We also use the same sauce, soy sauce, etc., for a simple slaw made of cabbage. So you can get this recipe, ginger scallion steamed cod, and all the recipes from this season of Milk Street Television at our website, milkstreettv.com.
Funding for this series was provided by the following.
Ferguson's proud to support Milk Street and Culinary Crusaders everywhere. For more information on our extensive collection of kitchen products, we're on the web at fergusonshowrooms.com.
For 25 years, Consumer Cellular has been offering no-contract wireless plans designed to help people do more of what they like. Our US-based customer service team can help find a plan that fits you. To learn more, visit consumercellular.tv.
Cooking happens in the kitchen, but life happens around the kitchen table. The 1919 collection, celebrating yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Visit us at www.1919cookware.com.